Oh hi, welcome back to the battle station here at the Internal Extreme Masters Katowice, as we're in the midst of day number 2, bracket number 4 now, bracket 3 in fact I should say, has concluded. Finally, it took a while, but there were some phenomenal games that we saw all day. And now we've got even more to come here. The bracket number 4 has worked out quite nicely, and our next matchup is going to be a PvP, gentlemen.
That it is. Harstem versus Trap. Like, Harstem getting past Sue there in, like, crazy good games like Macro and stuff. And
Macro and stuff?
Macro and stuff?
What?
But I mean, as we know, the year of Harstem and all that jazz. I mean, PvP versus Trap, it's a hard one, but it's doable.
Yeah.
Harstem stays on top of the metagame and everything. So, I mean, this is an exciting match. And, I mean, I can't think of a human I'd rather hear cast Harstem playing a PvP to get in the round of 24 than Kevin Vanderkoy.
That's right. A Kevin casting a Kevin. It would be an amazing feat, and we're going to get that later on in just a few moments' time. And thinking about it, actually, a lot of Harstem's kind of successes in the past did stem from his PvP, to be able to kind of put down some of the big PvP names in the past. He's always been pretty damn good at the matchup, Tasteless.
Absolutely. But that being said, I also feel like Trap is a really, really solid PvP player. I mean, the truth is we just saw in the GSL, although I don't think he had exactly the results he wanted to bring, he looked well prepared. And all those players that were in that GSL group were saying they spent so much time working on PvP that he still may have a lot to deliver here in this fight now. Yeah, it's fair. It's a very heavy training environment when you're going into that kind of group when it comes to the GSL. What I want to talk to you guys about is the other games that are going to be going on. I want to go down the line and see what is being covered. So, Maynard, you're going to eventually get Lucira versus Sue, which is a really big ZVZ.
Yeah, it's a huge one. 2 Koreans somehow in the losers bracket here. You don't always think that Sue and Lucira are going to be in the losers bracket, but this is the world we live in. And Sue, one of these guys is not going to be in the next round, which is incredible to me.
Yeah, and it's not even like Sue can advance in second. He will have to guarantee advance in third if he's going to get through. So.
Exactly. Third place is the best that these guys can hope for.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. And then we will have Neve versus Ragnarok being covered by Artosis, and then Patience versus Hurricane, which is a qualifying match by Tasteless as well.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so really good stuff coming up.
Yeah, I don't know if we have time to go into this match, but it is Patience.
Not really,
actually going for a 4-gate. I'll just let you guys know it's good. 4-gate, Hurricane's expanding, so action should pick up pretty soon here. So we'll probably have some results for how this match ends at the same time that our match, the main match we're going to be doing here, is going to end.
That's right. That's right. All right, let's head over to the commentary team as we bring you our PvP. Whilst more PvP is going on here, it's PvP everywhere as we go over to the casters. PvP.
Thank you very much, James. We are very excited to be bringing you guys this PvP. And Johan, this is one thing that I'm really wishing for. We've seen all these epic Terran versus Terrans, Terran versus Zergs. I mean, our lasers.
You want that PvP not to end under 10 minutes.
Exactly. Like, this is really the chance for our matchup to shine a little bit as well. If all these games are so freaking good, don't give us a 4-gate versus a 3-gate or something. Like, we need long games. Maybe some disruptors for all I care.
Yeah, that'd be really cool to see some late game. Usually PvP, though, definitely on the more aggressive side of things. Not quite ZVZ-esque. Sometimes in ZVZ, we literally stay on only 2 units, Zerglings and Banelings, but in Protoss versus Protoss, a lot of the time, as soon as you go to 3 bases, there's going to be a lot of attacks, and especially from these 2 guys here that love to be on the offensive. And the Wing Commander himself, Trap, and his Oracles, kind of known for that.
Something, of course, that Harstem also knows about Trap. Trap is excellent with Oracles, but Harstem is, he's not a stranger to some good old Phoenix play. Phoenix is, of course, a great opening against Oracles. Either way, I'm excited. We haven't seen a lot of this matchup in this tournament. My favorite matchup dot over here on the right bottom side. We're looking at the main base of the Korean Protoss. It is Trap. And on the left top side, we're looking at the man who used to be called Little Kevin, but these days thought he's Big Kevin. It is Harstem.
Man who ice case to his computer.
I mean, his computer is made of ice as well, though. No water cooling, just regular ice. Harstem, of course, representing Asterion, the Dutch team, and Trap representing Jin Air, Green Wings. We're going to keep a close eye on these openings. What are we expecting, Todd? Maybe some most solid Sentry Stalker expand, or do you think we'll see some Adept or Stalker pressure?
I think Stargates are quite likely, like pretty early and stuff in those series. Both of them, I would say, are solid enough to play just an expand style, you know, and just kind of take their time. As much as I say they can play aggressive, I feel like they also, you know, could very easily go into an expansion, try and scout with some hallucinated Phoenix, and from there see where it goes. Because honestly, like both of these guys, they're not necessarily, you know, in the case of Harstem, if you think of top European protos, right? You think Showtime and all that, like Harstem definitely like would be a little bit below that, or even like non-Korean protos. You think Neeb, whereas Trap is kind of the same thing, right? You would think Stats and all these guys, but just below these top and elite protosses from different regions are the guys like Harstem and Trap, who are also very, very good and trying to break out, you know, into those top placements.
Now, we're expecting Stargates here, at least I for sure am, and you said it's also quite likely. One of the main reasons why I think Phoenix is excellent on this map is that the one weakness that Phoenix play often has is that some days it can be hard to go up to 3 bases. 2 bases is not really much of an issue, but the third base, that's where timings become a little bit more complicated. And you can be quite vulnerable to massive attacks of Stalkers and lots of Zealots with charge and maybe a couple of Archons. But of course, this is a unique map where your third base is a pocket expand. So if you ever wanted to play Phoenix, I kind of feel that this is the map to do it.
He trapped the probe in.
That's actually a very early battery. Why is he so worried?
No, he wanted to make sure he kills the probe, not to let it out. So now he gets that one scout
Double
of
sentry
Harstem denied. And behind this, Harstem actually, is he going to check for the pocket expansion? Because that's where the probe of Trap is trapped.
So both probes are going to fall. I actually missed the probe in the main base of Trap. So Harstem, or Trap making a minor investment.
Oh, he denies the scouting. That's really good there.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for that probe to really get into the main base though, right, against the Stalkers. Now, there is a Stargate on the way for Harstem. Trap is not really
he denies the
showing us
scouting on the
much.
Nexus. If Harstem had gone for multiple Stalkers, he could have caught the Stalkers of Trap, but he went for a Sentry very quickly, so he can't actually punish that.
He's going to get a Phoenix dot. And with Phoenixes, you're safe against most things. Now, it's very nice if you open up with Phoenixes and your opponent has opened up with a lot of Sentries. This is actually, on paper, guys, a fantastic start for Harstem. And it may seem like not too much has happened yet, but Sentries are not the greatest anti-air in the game. And they're also light armored units. That makes it very easy for Phoenixes to kill them. Phoenix do extra damage against light, and of course they attack twice.
Yeah.
So this is actually exactly what you're hoping for if you're Harstem, because it's going to be very hard for Trap to keep his probes safe and eventually keep his sentries safe as well.
I love how you like not much has happened, but
no,
it's true, because like nothing dies, and then you see a guy start a robo, you see a guy start a Stargate, you know, like this is very good for him. Basically, almost like as if a gust of wind would change the tide of like who's winning and who's doing well. But yeah, that's how PvP can be at times. You need to take risk. Trap obviously is solid enough from there to develop himself properly. You know, it's not like he's going to go Immortals and then try to attack into Phoenixes or something like that. Obviously, the Robo is very safe with the observers that you can get. He already made a Forge, which I really like. As soon as you know that your opponent's expanding and you're expanding yourself, if you can get those upgrades going, you're already doing something right. Harstem catches that Scout. So Trap knows about the Phoenixes, but Harstem denies the scouting on, you know, how many probes there are on the map, what kind of follow-up, if there is already a robo or anything like that. And Trap's going to be the one lacking information, even though he's got 3 sentries. So he's definitely going to be able to use more of these sentries here with hallucinations, unless they die now.
He's got 3 sentries for now, but let's see how long these sentries actually live. And of course, let's see how many probes that Trap can able to stay alive. He's pulling probes against Phoenixes, not something you see super often. One Phoenix took a lot of damage, but it is not going to fall just yet. But it's actually quite nice for Trap knowing that one of these Phoenixes is so low on HP that perhaps he can gun it down in the future.
And Harstem takes a very quick third base there, 39 walkers. I think he realized that he's slightly ahead here in terms of the walker count maybe, so he's like...
And it's safe, it's a safe third base, right?
I mean,
it's the pocket.
Yeah, he's the one again who's got the Phoenixes against the Robo. So, I mean, what's Trap gonna do? Make him also send attack? They will get picked up and he'd be in trouble. So I like that by Harstem, who actually goes for a Robo Bay here.
Yeah, that's a very early Robo Bay. Makes a man wonder. I don't feel that Disruptors and Phoenix really go that well together.
Colossus, right?
Perhaps he feels like this is a good moment to go for Colossus. Now, a very common thing to do against Phoenixes, like I mentioned, is to get a lot of Zealots and to make an attack when you feel your opponent is going up to 3 bases. Now, of course, Colossus are not the all-killing unit anymore in this matchup, but Colossus against Phoenix, still pretty solid.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, he's the one with the Phoenixes. So if he was to go for Colossus, like the main thing you would be worried about is some sort of disruptor army. So because he has the Phoenixes that can pick those guys up, that makes his army even better. And coupled with a quicker third, I really like this here for Harstem, the way he's played this so far already. Like, how was Trap supposed to ever attack here? Unless it's with a Warp Prism and some big Warpins, but then it'd be committed.
I'm a little bit surprised to see the Disruptor. Now we see the second Robo facility as well, so it's going to be double Robo production of Disruptors. Disruptors, of course, still very good in higher numbers, but there is this one moment where you only have 3 or 4. And I must say I'm a little bit disappointed in the damage that the Phoenixes did, Todd. I think against that many sentries and against the Robo before a Twilight, I honestly feel there was a lot more potential for these Phoenixes. But he only made 3 as well, so it was a minor investment. And I guess he's just kind of okay with how this game is going. I mean, he is still up in workers. Whoa.
Whoa, 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 Trap, the Wing Commander himself.
He knows.
He's gonna go into air. What did Trap scout exactly?
I think he saw a Disruptor. He must have seen a Disruptor.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. So he's gonna go into charge. And here's Trap's plan. He's gonna go charge lot Archon and get Phoenixes to pick up the Disruptors of Harstem. So it's gonna force an even slower game, I think, because then neither Trap can really attack or Harstem up until the point they start taking a 4th base. Get off my lawn.
Big downside of gathering a lot of energy on your Phoenix is, of course, that they can immediately get killed by a couple of High Templars. And this is actually bad news, because it's important for Harstem that he gets some vision in the main base of Trap. Harstem needs to know about these 2 Stargates. Maybe the Hallucinated Phoenix scouted it? Yes, he did. Okay, because he sent 1 Hallucinated Phoenix into the main base. So Harstem knows what's up. And what does he do now, Todd? Does he make more Disruptors?
I mean, did he actually click on it?
It's 2 big buildings.
Yeah, it could be gates.
No, gates are... I don't think that round. Stargates are a little more round, right?
I mean, he's still making a Disruptor right now. Yeah. I think he might not have checked at all, maybe. Which could be big trouble here for Harstem. Like I said, it's hard to attack, but I mean, if Trap is making the right army for a long time enough, he might be the one attacking. And again, that 4th base is going to be the exposed one. Harstem with a nice supply lead, but Trap, he's 1 upgrade ahead, and he already starts +3. I thought, how did Harstem forget about it? I guess he started upgrades later, but it took some time here to start at +2.
Well, if he didn't know about the Phoenixes, he definitely knows now after this hallucinated Phoenix flew into the real Phoenixes of Trap. Now I just kind of wonder, does Harstem just make so many Disruptors that you can't pick them all up at once? The problem is, though, Harstem doesn't really have a meat shield for his army, right? If a bunch of Zealots start charging in, they're going to run into these Disruptors, into these Immortals, into these Stalkers. None of those units are great against Zealots, unless, of course, you get the shots that you're looking for.
Yeah.
But Trap is going to try to prevent that by A, splitting his units, and B, using the Phoenix.
I thought that Harstem would transition. I mean, against this army, one of the best things he could do is add a lot of charge lots and Archons, right? But instead, he's taking the other route. He's going for Blink Stalkers. Probably going to want to look to get a lot of them. I mean, they can be good against Phoenixes, but against charge lots and Archons, not so much.
No, I totally agree with you there, Johan. I honestly think that if Harstem would add 4 or 5 Archons, then I like his army composition a lot better, and I feel there is a lot more potential for the Disruptors to get the damage done that they're looking for as well.
Who's got the Phoenixes now? Well, it's Trap, the Wing Commander, flies in, gets a bunch of probes sniped. He's still behind on Walkers. Harstem, notoriously, Harstem always makes so many probes, and this game is no different. He's already up to 77, but his army is what he needs to focus on right now. As Trap is about to attack, he's going to go for the pickup here on a lot of these Disruptors. Let's see if any of them can connect.
Oh! One of them does get a very juicy hit off in the middle of all these sentries, but the rest, though, this is kind of what I mentioned. Harstem doesn't have that much of a meat shield.
Yeah, and the Phoenixes start dying here for Trap, who's plummeting in supply. Harstem has had the defense he needed in the first place, and he's got an earlier 4th base.
The biggest problem for Trap is that he just lost his Prism, right? How are you going to be aggressive in PvP after losing your Prism before the fight starts? That's just a really, really big deal. And it almost seemed like Trap was annoyed and just decided to go for it. And the engagement was sort of alright, but without the Prism, you can never close the deal.
That's what happens when you meet Showtime on the ladder all the time. These longer games, you're definitely going to get very good at them. And right now, Harstem, he's got a massive army, 84 against 73 of Trap. All he has to do is kind of play it slow. Maybe add the Mothership here in a second, because he made the Fleet Beacon and he's got a good gas income. Add a lot of charge lots, and I think eventually he might be able to hit a very scary timing against Trap, who's still the one out on the map here and looking to try and be aggressive. I'm surprised that actually Trap is still out there.
Oh, Disruptor shots coming forward. Will connect with just a couple of Zealots for now. It's just the Disruptor count is so freaking high that it's going to be very hard for Trap to really get close to these Disruptors, lift them up. The Phoenix count very high as well. I love that Blink also allows all of these Disruptors to shoot at the Immortals and the Archons, and Harstem takes a commanding lead in this game.
Trap right now is thinking, okay, this is not how Phoenix is against Disruptors. It's supposed to go at all. That went so bad. And Harstem with some great micro. That almost reminded me of, remember when Zergs tried to drop Banelings on top of Colossus Stalker's army and Protosses would pull back and snipe the Overlords? That was kind of the same. Harstem just shooting down those Phoenixes one by one, and now he's feeling confident enough to move across the map. He's got so much more supply. Look at it, Roddy might be able to put an end to this game here in a second.
Well, Harstem with the 40 army supply advantage, and of course still all these disruptors that Trap doesn't really have an answer to. Another blink there gets one of the Phoenixes before the party starts. All these units on the right side will just get blown to pieces. Zealot's getting blown up as well, and I think that's all she wrote for game number 1. As these Immortals are falling, the Archons are gonna fall as well, and Harstem just has an insane amount of Stalkers.
Yeah, the last forces here of Trap trying to chase against the Stalkers and Disruptors. They're going to be pushed back here by some Purification Novas. Harstem looking to regroup. What a masterful longer game PvP here we saw from Harstem. He's about to get the Mothership. He did everything right. Kind of neglected the upgrades, but he did everything else so much better than Trap anyway that it didn't matter.
The Dutch Protoss really looking in control here in game number 1 as he's trying to get a few more final hits up. The Zealot count is just not really there anymore. That Prism was full of Zealots and was actually a little bit dangerous to fly it into all these Stalkers. But Trap knows as well that there isn't really anything he can do here anymore. GG, Harstem with a very convincing, dominating game 1.
Great job by him. What's the lesson here? Like if you're going Disruptors and the opponent goes double Stargates, do you make more Disruptors and then add Blink Stalkers? Apparently that worked out pretty well for Harstem.
But even before that, right, Harstem was just in a good position. He was ahead by 8, 9, 10 workers.
Yeah.
Once again, I think this map really suits Phoenix play very well, because normally going up to 3 bases is the weakness of Phoenixes. That can be a little hard, and sometimes you have to delay your third base quite a bit. Harstem just rushed into it because it was a pocket expand anyway, and it honestly felt there wasn't too much that Trap could have done about it.
And guys, very important, this is a qualifying match here between these two players. Whoever wins here advances to the round of 24. So very, very important match point here for Harstem if he's able to secure this one.
And this
Harstem would have beat Su and then Trap.
This was such a crazy bracket because I think we had 7 Koreans in this bracket. I don't think there were too many people looking at Harstem to qualify for the round of 24.
Yeah, just like Take wasn't looking out for him to win Home Story Cup this one time.
Nope, but he did. that was the actual year of Harstem up to this point. 2016, Harstem won 2 big tournaments, one in China and of course Home Story Cup in Krefeld. Trap right now kind of on the ropes. Probably wondering, Phoenix, pretty good.
I mean, he went for Phoenixes himself. That was weird because when I saw the double Stargates, I was like, this is very smart. It should go well for him.
Do you see the punchline at the bottom, Todd?
Oh, Wax. Cheeky guy.
We're bleeding over here, okay, Wax? There's no need to rub salt into the wounds.
It's a great series here so far already. I love it. I love watching something that I think is good for someone, but then the other player wins. And it's like, well, actually, you can kind of do this. You can go into Disruptors and Blink Stalkers. Obviously, many times you see somebody do this and then that will not go well for them and they will lose. But Harstem made it work beautifully here. His micro was immaculate in those fights.
You know what
Defense.
this reminded me of a little bit? Do you remember when Pro put up a really good fight against Neep with Stalkers and Disruptors against Neep, his Phoenix play?
Yeah.
And then Neep in the interview back then with Smick said, it just fell so far out of the meta in the Korean scene that I haven't played against Disruptors in forever because just nobody does it. So I had a couple of bad judgments, you know, and I just kind of played it wrong at some points. And it really did feel that Trap has not played against this many Disruptors in a long time. Because I think even if he didn't lose the first Prism, which was disastrous, but let's say he doesn't lose that Prism, I still don't think he's going to kill Harstem there.
Yeah, that was definitely very impressive. As far as taking the third base early, that was a great decision as well from him. He's up one map here, our Dutch Protoss. Let's see if he can do it here and close this series out. Map number 2.
Kevin the Coney. What a
Kevin the
name.
King.
I know.
As cool as it gets. Unless your name is Asgard like Snoots, you don't have a cooler name than Harstem, that's for sure.
Game number 2 is going to be played on Blackpink. As we're looking at the main base of the Korean Protoss, he's down 0-1. Can he bring it back? It's Trap. On the right top side, we're looking at the main base. The Dutch Protoss. He's up 1-0. It's Harstem. Looks fierce, though.
The intensity. I would not want to meet that guy in the dark street at night.
I would. He's a great guy.
He would Purification Nova me into oblivion.
No, he would lift you up like a phoenix, though.
Sweep me off my feet.
Yeah, literally. All right, curious to see how both players are opening up game number 2. I still find it funny how rarely you see the double adept opening these days at the highest level in PvP. Now, of course, all of these guys are in general so good and so on the money with walling off that the chance that you get into the main base and kill a bunch of probes is very small. But you don't have to lose your adepts, right? You can still keep them there. They're still a great way to scout. And I'd like to see it at least every now and then just to, you know, spark up the early game a little bit.
Yeah, on this map, the third base feels like it's so far out of position that it's almost like you have to attack into it. You know, it's so tempting. You just look at the min-map, you're like, okay, no, it's go time on that third base. So it will be interesting to see how aggressive both of these players get eventually. As far as first 2 units go, how did you like how last game went, where Harstem went for Stalker Sentry against double Stalker of Trap? You think it doesn't really matter as long as you play safe?
I don't really understand double Stalker into double Sentry too much, because with 2 Stalkers you can get too aggressive. It mostly feels like he just does that for defensive purposes, right? That's just a strong defensive setup. While Harstem was obviously just trying to get a Sentry to scout out, making it look like everything is normal early on. And then of course getting some Phoenixes out. I think Backwater is a very long map that unless there is a crazy proxy, I don't think it has too much of an impact on this game.
He's gonna trap him? Is he gonna trap him again?
I think it went out.
Yeah, no. He's not going for the trap this time. It's pretty costly, to be honest, to go for a shield battery at this stage. Make sure you kill the probe.
Ooh, the pylon block. Something we see. Anything you can do, Todd.
PvP in a nutshell.
I can do better.
And double sentry again here for Trap after 2 Stalkers, so he's gonna head across the map with those 2.
He cancelled the 2 sentries, and now he's going
adepts.
for double adept. Where is his probe? Did he send his probe all the way home? Maybe? I have the feeling that this probe is gonna be up to no good eventually, huh?
Oh, I love that position, by the way. He can see units move up the ramp. If there were 2 adepts to move across the map, he might be able to spot them.
That's
or even
very
run
smart.
into them. Stalkers.
He's gonna see it. Trap will be able to get the kill on this probe eventually, but at least Harstem now knows that it was a double Stalker opening.
Yeah, but that denies the scout of these 2 adepts heading across the map, so there is a small chance these guys can sneak into the main base. Obviously, like, that's the very reason you go for a wall. Does Harstem have a probe in position?
Not anymore.
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
What a guy!
Well, he's gonna...
Covering all of his bases. And Harstem actually going for a Twilight Council, then into a Robo.
He sends it back now. Yeah, that is actually quite funny. We can talk about it in a split
gonna spot
second. But let's see if these adepts can make their way into the main base. Is there a probe? No, there is not anymore. And that means that these 2 adepts should be able to get at least 3 or 4 kills here. 4, I think, is the absolute minimum that Trap is hoping for. If he can get more than that, Todd, it's bonus time.
Yeah, trying to get a surround here onto these adepts. Harstem, not to let them get away. 4 probes for 2 adepts.
I like it though.
Trap's going to be slightly ahead on the Walker Council, but he does sack 2 units to achieve that. And Harstem goes into Blink. How do you like opening Blink in PvP? Oh, that's right, you want to go Stargate and Phoenixes.
No. I like Blink actually, but I think in general you want to go Robo before Twilight, because it's very hard to hold certain all-ins if you go Twilight before a Robo. The only way you ever do this, guys, is if you really feel that your opponent is not going to be aggressive at all, if you're just expecting him to sit back and macro up, then you can squeeze out the Blink before the Robo. I mean, I don't hate it. It's just a little bit risky against certain all-ins, but I guess Harstem knew enough that he felt this was justified.
Actually, a Forge being dropped down here pretty early once again from Trap to make sure he can get those upgrades going. That was the one thing that last game he did very well, to get ahead on those upgrades. Oh! Wait, what?
He commits.
That's not worth it.
Got 2 probes. I mean, he's still at least securing the worker lead. Obviously hoping for more there, hoping to get... Wow, he's just sending adepts on the other side of the map. He's like, I've had enough of this sitting back.
Being a little stubborn.
Oh, no, probe. Whew, that was close. I don't think you should commit that one.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Now, Harstem is once again going for the Robo bait, Todd.
Whereas Trap is going for Immortals plus some upgrades. Remember, this time there is actually no Phoenix to pick up the Immortals of Trap.
But on this map, it's so much harder to go up to 3 bases, though, that if Trap decides to move out with Archons, Immortals, and a bunch of charge lots...
Trap he might go for glaives and play aggressive, because like I said, that third base is very siegeable on this map. There is so much space to, you know, come in from some multiple angles, send some adepts in. Every time he does cost some minerals, by the way, but he sacked it. That's weird.
At least he was able to save both probes there, Harstem that is. Both probes took one hit, but that's obviously not enough to kill them. So
Harstem must be fed up of these adepts trying to break in. He's like, Hodor, stop it.
Well, Trap is going once again for the double Stargate Todd, but this is of course a different game, guys. The last game, Harstem was economically ahead for pretty much the entirety of the game. This time, Trap is the one that's been ahead ever since the first two adepts went into the main base. So it's gonna be a little harder for Harstem to have like 8 or 10 Disruptors against 4 or 5 Phoenixes of Trap.
I really wonder if it's a case of he feels like he shouldn't have lost the previous game because he had the right composition and he wants to try it again to play with Phoenixes against Disruptors. And Harstem, surely, if he sees this, he's gonna go for the exact same thing. He's gonna go into a lot of Blink Stalkers to cover his Disruptors, except this time he already has Blink, so he doesn't even need to research it after.
Can we get the confirmation that Trap does not know yet about this third base of Harstem? I have the feeling he didn't see
He's
it.
about to.
Yeah.
There's a scout headed this way.
But he's still on 2 bases. It's kind of funny to see Immortals, Charge, Double Phoenix, and a Templar Archives all on 2 bases.
Yeah. He's almost playing Proto-Smack here,
Yes.
I might say.
No, that's the idea behind it. I just don't understand why he got Warp Gate in the first place, Todd. Now, of
That
course,
was a mistake.
no, it's going to be very useful for all these Chargeless that he wants to warp in. The only thing that I'm a little bit worried about for Trap, though, Todd, is that he's investing a lot in production facilities.
Yeah, I think he's going to attack. He's getting a Prism right now. He's trapped. He's kind of trying to pretend he wants to take that third base. But remember, even if he starts that Nexus, which usually you do, you still want to commit a lot here to the attack. Trap has cut pro production for now. He's only making units. He's going to have so many Phoenixes to work with.
Yeah.
And I think this time, the attack and fight is going to be so much scarier than in the previous game. Looking to try and catch some of these Stalkers out of position here in the middle of the map, but they do have Blink.
I totally agree with you. On paper, this looks a lot better for Trap. He needs 2 more Phoenix, though. And it's also very, very important that Trap does not lose his Warp Prism.
Harstem just saw this coming. He saw the units in the middle of the map. He saw that there were units being warped in. He's going to start a ton of shield battery here to try and defend. Ooh, this is going to get crazy here in a second.
Harstem has 12 more workers, and he's got enough Disruptors. If he's able to land just a couple of good shots, that could... Ooh, that's a risky blink. Imagine if the Immortals were a little bit closer.
Yeah.
A couple of Stalkers could have been lifted up. Every second that goes by is a very good second for the Dutch Protoss, as he is 12 workers ahead. Can Harstem hold for his ticket to the round of 24?
Trap cannot clump up ever. He needs to have the Zealots at the front here to try and detonate this Purification Novas. One of the Immortals get hit here. There is so many Chancellors coming in. The Phoenixes pick up one of the Disruptors, and Trap has to go for the fight right now. Purification Novas hits a lot of these units. Does Harstem have enough?
I kind of think he does, though. That's a lot of shield batteries there as well. A couple of these Disruptors are connecting with the
He can force
Zealots.
field. Yes, there is no more Archon. He could actually use a couple force fields there. The shield battery is doing what they can to keep as many of these units alive as they can, but Harstem's army is plummeting. He's going to have to pull the probes here against upgraded Zealots. He's going to be read out. Huge detonation here on 2 of those Immortals, and Harstem is still producing Disruptors 2 by 2, but his army gets cleaned up. Has lose this base.
Yeah, lost almost all of his Stalkers, though. That's the biggest problem. He doesn't have the micro potential anymore that these Blink Stalkers normally provide. He blinks on top of the Immortal, really believes in the power of the shield battery, and his Zealots and the Stalkers actually get the job done. But more and more Zealots are coming in for Trap.
The Phoenix is out of energy. They can't pick up anything right now.
Oh, a couple of Archons are going to show up, though, and I think that could very well be it. Harstem is going to recall maybe a couple of units from his... What? Okay, I have no idea what that recall was. He's sort of bought some time. Those Disruptors do not get the shots off that they were looking for. Good execution by Trap so far.
It's going to take some next level kiting for Harstem to stay alive in this game here. Trap is getting in there with too many units for Harstem to handle, and GG gets called. Trap gets the equalizer here. The way he was meant to fight in the first game finally came to fruition here, finally picking up those Disruptors.
I got a little bit scared when those Immortals started to take a lot of damage and he started eating a couple of those big Disruptor hits. You could really see that Harstem, he knows it as well, that he was close to holding there. All it takes is take out that final Immortal, and as soon as you have a bunch of Stalkers together, Zealots can't really do that much anymore if the Stalkers are tucked in between mineral lines and shield batteries.
The smartest thing that Trap did is that he went between the natural and third base, because then Harstem the reinforcements kept coming in, like immediately, like the fight started with one disruptor getting caught, which is like literally the worst thing that can happen. If Trap had actually attacked a little bit below that into the shield batteries, Harstem might have held a lot more easier onto that third base. So good timing here by Trap. Harstem maybe, I don't know, maybe should have been a little bit more careful about this kind of timing because there was no third base for a very long time. So maybe he wasn't on top of his scouting as much as he should have been, but very nicely done by Trap, playing with a lot of Phoenixes here.
By the time that fight started, Harstem had 61 probes and Trap had 49 workers. That obviously means that Harstem has a massive advantage. Not only did he invest in all of those probes, he also invested in the Nexus. You've got a couple pylons there as well. So basically, his army was always going to be quite a bit smaller. But every second that would go by would be a good one for the Dutch Protoss. Felt he made it close thought, but Trap with some solid execution. Risky build though by Trap there. Risky attack. Tournament live on the line. I mean, well, not tournament live, but upper bracket live on the line. Obviously a big series because this lower bracket is nothing to scoff at.
You don't want to fall down there.
Could potentially end up playing against Sue for your tournament live. Not the most pleasant place to be.
Everybody knows that's taking second place. Sue's specialty.
We have loaded into Asset Plant for the decider of this qualifying match of the fourth bracket of today. We're looking at the main base of our Korean Protoss. It is Trap. And on the left top side, we're looking at the main base of the Dutch Protoss, representing Asterion. It is Harstem. Just as intense as he was before, Johan.
We always see Harstem, even though he's listening to some silly songs sometimes while playing tournaments. Remember that one time was listening to One Republic?
No, One Direction.
Oh yeah, same thing.
I'm not sure if that's the same thing. I think there's a little bit of difference. Forgot About Dre used to be a song.
Yeah?
That he always played before he
That's a great song, actually.
Yeah, that's a classic. You don't have to ask him about it. He's gonna start spitting some rhymes.
What do you listen to when you play?
Me? A little bit of everything. Man's Not Hot is one of the hottest tunes right now for sure, but I listen to
you have a very commercial playlist, I have to say.
But
Especially the Demuslim playlist.
all the good old sing-alongs from the
Really
early
the
2000s.
that's out there.
Hey, that's a very popular playlist on Spotify. The Muslims playlist got like more followers than I have on Twitter.
No!
No, he's got a lot of followers on Spotify. People are loving the Muslim playlist. It's a real classic in the Starcraft 2 scene.
That was weird, by the way, last game, because these adepts weren't really doing the damage they needed to. Like, the first two were nice, but after that, that was like almost for not so much. Yet somehow Trap did so well. I really think that Harstem's quick third and tech to disruptors backfired big time last game. Like, if he had somewhat got a whiff that there was an attack coming, you could have played so much better against it. You could have even maybe walled off somehow, but obviously on that map, it was very hard because the second base is so far away from the third one.
Now my big question is, Todd, is he going to go for Disruptors one more time? I think in game number 1 he was in a very good position. I was still surprised by it, but it made sense. In game 2, to open up with Blink and go that fast into Disruptor, it feels very old school to me. And, whoa. Okay. Trap is helping Harstem wall off. This is so weird. You think he's going to let it finish up? No, right? He just wants to see which units pop out of the gateway.
And also kind of force one of the Stalkers to... You know, you could have just sent that outside.
I think it's a cute way to see what pops out of the gateway, right? In case it is 2 adepts, you obviously want to be in the right position to deal with those 2 adepts.
Harstem scouted with the probe early on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he saw everything. Kind of weird.
Uh-oh.
2 more gates.
4 gates.
You talked about it before the series even started.
Come on,
This could be a very quick one here.
We've seen all these epic TVTs, all these epic TVZs. Are you guys really going to let it come down to a 4-gate to see who is going to advance to the round of 24?
What better way to find out who's the better player?
Oh, this would be massive. Oh my god, Harstem.
Oh!
Okay,
he saw it. Okay, he's moving back towards it, but there are Stalkers now trying to help and fight against this. He finds the pylon. That's a big tail that a 4-gate is coming. It couldn't be DTs this early, so it has to be more Stalkers. And Harstem, can he get the... Oh, he's going to shade. He's going to shade on top of it and get these 2 Stalkers potentially.
I would probably...
He needs shield batteries though. Harstem needs shield batteries. He's warping in one of those at the natural.
I would cancel everything on the low ground. Harstem decides
and an Oracle's flying across the map. Is there a shield battery in that middle line?
Yes.
Oof.
One. But that doesn't last forever. The Oracle is going to gain up energy. I think this is going to be so damn tough for Harstem to hold on the low ground, Johan. It really makes me wonder, is this necessary? Does he really have to hold on the low ground?
Yeah, he whops in a Stalker on the high ground. That Nexus is going to be a cancel. Maybe whop in a Sentry.
Sentry!
Oh my god.
Oh, this is so bad.
He has the gas, but maybe some cooldown on some of these whop gets. He whops the Sentry now, already pulling the probe. Harstem's going to try to do some damage across the map with the Oracle. In the meantime, uses one defensively. Can Harstem hold on here? He will fall to the lower bracket if he couldn't.
That Oracle takes a lot of damage. Harstem does save his Oracle, Johan, and he trapped a lot of those Stalkers on the high ground. The Oracle is starting to find a little bit of damage in the main base of Trap. This is just turning into a really awkward game, but perhaps kind of the game we were hoping for, Johan, because this game right now is sort of even in a very weird way.
18 walkers to 19.
I think you expand here.
And Harstem is the one with the Stargate. Trap has 0 tech. He's on 4 gates. Who is this better for? Trap gets a lockdown going.
Yeah, I think if Trap just expands, I think it's okay.
Yeah. There is no pylon on the map, that's the thing. So there is no potential for counter at depths, which would have been really good.
The fact that Harstem was able to keep that second Oracle alive, Todd, is massive, because now he can fly in with 2 Oracles.
It's crunch time.
Yep, and 2 Oracles do not care about your shield battery. However, 4 Stalkers, that's a little bit more threatening.
They care a little bit more about that, yeah. Just a little bit.
Especially,
I would just sack them. Get like 10 probes if you can.
You
think you couldn't get that much against Stalkers, yeah.
Since those Oracles are already a little bit injured as well, I think the best he could do
I would sack them, that's why I'm casting.
Oh, I love sacrificing my Oracles too, Johan. Every Oracle I've ever made is going in straight for the kill. There's no way back. But yeah,
we're tower diving in Starcraft too. Well,
it's not the right way to use and utilize your Oracles. Now Harstem gets his own Robo, just in case, you know, he would go up against something bizarre. I think Trap should just expand. I know he's been very broke, but I think expanding... he's going for Blink.
It's hard. You need to have at least, like, you know, 16 plus saturation on minerals, which he has exactly 16 probes right now on that.
Maybe Blink.
He might just go full Blink Stalkers. Yeah. Look at how many Stalkers he has already.
Oh.
It makes perfect sense. He could... Ooh. Oh. Got me scared here for a second.
I mean, he would have been able to kill the Sentry.
Yeah, he's just... Trap is not going to make walkers. Oh my god, he's just going to mass Blink Stalkers. And Harstem sees it perfectly. I love this. This is so good. Harstem is so good. He gets the scout, he flies back. All he has to do is keep an eye on whether there is a second base starting. He kept both Oracles alive. He can just keep on tagging those units. And then Harstem can go for Immortals and then a Nexus. He's basically, by playing so well and scouting everything, he's making sure that he's going to be able to expand here in a second.
You know what would be amazing as well, Johan? If he would drop a couple of stasis wards with those Oracles.
Yeah.
He's been banking up a lot of energy. They've been alive for quite some time. If he could somehow trap a couple of those units from Trap...
No pun intended.
No, absolutely not. This would be massive. Trap is going to need every single unit to defend if Harstem decides to run across the map with his Immortal Sentries and Warp Prism, and there is no reason for Harstem not to do that. I think it would be very, very hard. Because Trap still needs to defend his main base against the Oracles as well, right? I think that Harstem has a lot of potential for a move out.
Yeah, Harstem just getting more Immortals, like such an important game here. As much as tournament life is not on the line, all you're thinking about, here you're seeing the big prize. You know that the winner advances onto the round of 24, which is what all of these guys have come here for. To be honest, falling to that lower bracket is devastating. Like, sure, you get another chance, but it's just so stacked, as we said before, that it's extremely hard to win one more match.
Yep, and it's been a long day already as well, don't forget about that. And if you lose here, you're going to have to wait until that lower bracket plays out, because you're going to be the last man standing in that lower bracket. Just takes a lot, well, at least second last round. That Warp Prism is going to fly straight into the Blink Stalkers. Harstem decided not to move out, Johan. I'm a little bit sad about that. I really felt his army was strong enough, and then especially with the threat that he still had of those 2 Oracles, I felt he could have made life so difficult on Trap.
Usually if you have Sentries, Guardian Shield and Immortals against a lot of Stalkers, you can do very well with that. I think he's going to try to surround these pretty well, so that even if they blink after they're out of the Stasis wards, he gets the snipes.
Well, Blink is still on cooldown as well. That's the biggest problem. I think he's just going to one-shot them. Trap knows it as well. He's like, oh, well, sorry, guys.
Nothing could be done. He'll call their families personally and notify them.
You guys ever wonder if a Stalker has nightmares too? That's how it looks like. Double Robo Bay. Trap is going to return the favor. He's like, I've got Blink. Maybe I should go disrupt this game. Now Harstem is getting his own Robo Bay as well. Now obviously, if this
Disruptor Wars!
that's so weird in a way that this game that started off with a 4-gate against a 1-gate or 2-gate Stargate fast expand is turning into a Disruptor War.
They're gonna split the map, man.
Carriers eventually on with a Mothership.
Hey, Harstem was gonna go for. Harstem is such a big fan of Mothership, by the way. I love it because he uses it very effectively. Like he lost the one game against Sue where he went for it, but he always gets it at the right time. It feels like, and I love that about a player that you know, they can go for the late game instead of just always like, you know, going for the kill when they think they're ahead and stuff.
I felt like a while ago a lot of Protoss players only ever would make a Mothership if they're going full Golden Armada, right? But a lot of the European Protoss,
So all the old Archon toilet.
yeah, they're like, no, you know, Motherships are great, cloaks your army, and it has so much HP, and if you lose the Observer, if you lose Detection in a fight, it can be very annoying to go up against an army that consists of a Mothership.
I mean, if you thought that losing against a small blur of a unit in a DT was frustrating, wait until you lose when you can only see a capital ship and everything under is cloaked.
It's been a long time since I've casted some Disruptor Wars. Now, one big advantage that Harstem still has in this game, guys, are the Oracles. When it comes down to Blink Stalkers and Disruptors, vision is everything. Positioning of your Disruptors is everything. Harstem can still tag this army of Trap. Well, Trap is not going to be able to see where Harstem's units are exactly.
Yeah.
And that is a very big deal in these kind of micro-oriented battles.
What's the Disruptor count for both? 4-2 in Trap's favor right now, but I think Harstem might be able to catch up a little bit. They're both producing those Disruptors 2x2.
Stasis wards, though, thought they're still pretty scary as well. Harstem can just tag this army.
Harstem always has so much more walkers than Trap, though. It's kind of weird. Trap really neglects that pro production, trying to be more aggressive every time. Ooh, great tag. Oh, he loses one.
Man, he just blinked again, which means that these Stalkers are going to have a very hard time getting out of there.
Yeah,
he
dead
could,
meat, Roddy.
He could time it very well with a Disruptor shot. Harstem is just kind of making sure he's safe everywhere at once. Ooh, used his entire army to go all the way towards the right side for what? Harstem shot first. And that's the golden rule taught in Disruptor Wars. Who shoots the bubble first?
This is the Far West in space. The clock just rang. It's time to pull out your pistol, in this case the Disruptor, and shoot that Purification Nova to try and take out your opponent quicker than he will take you out.
Are you saying it's high noon somewhere in the world?
Yeah.
That's a very sad Stalker for Harstem.
And he takes only one bullet from this guy. Kill a lot.
That's the ultimate.
Yeah, but he shoots a lot of bullets, right? In Overwatch.
Ooh, one Oracle does get sniped, and that's a very juicy snipe for Trap. A very important one, but the other Oracle... Wait, did he lose both Oracles? Because he's rebuilding an Oracle.
Ooh, a Dark Shrine on the way, by the way.
Okay.
Trap is getting cheeky.
There is
I
an
think
Observer.
DT drop could be very dangerous because this is not one of those games where it feels like you have to get cannons just yet, but as I say, that Harstem starts one on the third base. Does he have one in the natural and main?
He's building
No.
but the biggest problem
Okay,
for
yeah,
Trap,
he gets it now.
Yeah. Spider senses.
Harstem is so good.
The biggest problem for Trap is, though, that he's been outmined for a long time. And even though that doesn't really show right now, that's going to show soon, guys. Harstem has been investing in a lot of stuff. And he's been up like 10, 12 workers for the last 2-3 minutes of this game. And that is a very big deal if you're making the exact same army. While Speed Prism, that's kind of cool.
Gravitic Drive coming into play there. Usually, even if there is a cannon, all you have to do is drop something like 3 DTs on top of it. And then that falls. And usually, when you play a PvP at this stage in a game like that, on 3 bases, you can always anticipate your opponent will have at least 1 cannon per middle line. So you up in 3 DTs, you drop them on top of the cannon, take it out, and it's very hard for the opponent to defend. He has to come back with a lot of units, and then you attack elsewhere at the same time. That's the main plan when you're going for DTs, which is my specialty.
I have seen your stream in the past, Todd. You know, one thing that does get me very excited, or as Tolsis would say, I'm getting nerd chills, is the potential of not only, of course, dropping the Dark Templars into the main base with your Speed Prism, but Speed Prisms can be very useful in Disruptor Wars as well.
Yeah.
If you put one Disruptor in your Prism and you drop it and you flank the army and you connect with the core of the Disruptors of Harstem, he could be in big trouble.
Did you see that? I think Trap was just scouting for cannons. He checked the main base, saw there was only 1 cannon. He's still only got one DT in that prism. I really feel. Oh!
There's a shield back.
Harstem saw it.
Yep.
He saw the blur. Oh my god!
Recall being used. At least one Dark Templar will live to tell the tale.
So now he knows about the potential DT drop. Does Harstem get a little bit more ready in the main base or expansion? He's getting a cannon in the expansion. That's a little bit of a late one. The DTs will get there before that's finished, which might force a recall. Harstem's moving across the map. He knows that Trap has invested a lot into this. He's gonna try to cause a fight.
It's hard to attack into Disruptors though. Like you mentioned,
Recall?
this cannon was a little bit too late. I think for Harstem the best thing to do right now would go back, unless he can somehow kill these Dark Templars very easily. Ooh, that's dangerous.
Oh my
wow,
god.
he gets both of them.
Harstem is a fantastic golf player, I'm sure.
Uh-oh.
The cannon in the main base being targeted, which means that DTs will be warped in as well by Trap. Recall happens, Harstem with the defense. As Trap might go for the attack on the third base, but I mean, he's quite far away from that, and Harstem should be able to anticipate that right now.
I love this recall by Harstem because once again, Disruptors are game-changing units. One shot can really turn the tide of a game, and you don't want to be looking at home. You don't want to be dealing with 8, 10, 12 Zealots in your main base with your army out on the map and the potential of one of those big Disruptor shots landing. So I really love that recall by Harstem. I think it's a very mature decision.
Fourth base is going to get sniped here of Harstem, who's got way more army right now than Trap. We've all seen Protoss armies vanishing. Trap is going to take the position on the third base of Harstem, saying you have to attack into me and I'm going to blow up your army if you do. Wow. Harstem might just counterattack or surround this, but Trap could just recall after he's killed at Nexus. Everything's clumping up, I'm scared already, hold me.
I don't think I'm strong enough, Jon.
Harstem's about to counterattack. Oh my god, that's so much.
That is a very... Oh, he doesn't have a detection
He has
here,
to recall.
though.
I think Trap recalls.
But the biggest problem is that he doesn't have an observer with his army. Imagine if Trap warps in 5 or 6 defensive Dark Templars.
I mean, he can't know, right? I mean, I guess that's one way to find out.
Yeah, you warped them in. Well, there's a
Half of the time, you're right.
He warps in a couple of defensive DTs. I think that's very smart. What a nail-biting PvP here to Tiderman, who is going to the round of 24, excuse me, as these Zealots are caught in a very awkward spot. Trap has definitely turned this game around though, Todd, with a couple of very good moves.
Harstem is trying to come in from behind here with his main army. He actually will rejoin the Immortals and Zealots that he had made earlier. Can he blow up some Stalkers? There's so much mobility in both Stalker armies. It's all about the Disruptors looking to try and connect though. And Trapped. Oh my god. What is going on?
4th of July, fireworks everywhere, but these Disruptors are trapped. Harstem lost all of his Stalkers, and that's going to be it. A full surround of Zealots on the Disruptors of Harstem, and Trap is going to be your Protoss that will advance to the round of 24. What a good comeback, I would even call it there by Trap, because he really was kind of in a dicey position, but great army movement, great decisions, and that War Prism Todd, MVP.
Protoss Dream and Protoss Nightmare both showcased in the same game here as Trap somehow lands the good end of Purification Nova and catch the army of Harstem.
Wow, great series here, of course. Great job by Trap to advance. We've got a Protoss start making it through the open bracket. We're gonna head over to a very small break, and after that we'll be back with an interview with Trap and Smix.
It was a Protoss versus Protoss to see who would qualify out of bracket 4, and it's Trap that comes out on top over Harstem. So first of all, congratulations, Trap, on qualifying. As soon as you won, the camera showed your face and you just looked absolutely ecstatic. Can you tell us what was going through your head at that time?
일단 진출 축하드리고요. 이기는 순간 카메라에 얼굴이 잡혔는데 너무 행복해 보였어요. 그때 정확히 무슨 생각을 하고 있었는지 얘기해 주세요.
일단 기분 좋기도 했는데 약간 행복이라기보다는 뭔가 한시름 놓은 듯한 다행이다라는 생각이 가장 먼저 들었고, 그리고 또 패자조로 내려가면 또 잘하는 선수들이 있고 2번 더 이겨야 되기 때문에 여기서 꼭 올라가고 싶었는데 올라가게 돼서 너무 기뻤어요.
So he says, actually, rather than happiness, I think the biggest feeling that I felt was a lot of relief, because I really, really did not want to fall down to that lower bracket, because if I did do that, there's a lot of strong players down there. I knew I'd have to win an extra 2 times. So I was just feeling a huge amount of relief that I was able to win here and move on, because I really, really wanted to. And when it came to the series with Harstem, I briefly talked to you a little bit, and you were saying that it was harder than you thought it would go. So what was it that Harstem did that made it such a difficult series?
아까 전에 짧게 얘기했을 때 생각보다 어려웠다고 했는데 정확히 뭐 때문에 어려웠나요?
일단 분열기를 이제 하스템 선수가 이제 들고 와서 그것만 했는데, 이제 분열기가 워낙 변수가 많은 유닛이다 보니까 이제 요즘은 또 안 쓰기도 하고 해가지고 뭔가 사이즈가 조금 뭔가 판단이 약간 100% 확신 있는 판단 내리기가 어려웠던 것 같아요.
So it was definitely the disruptors from Harstem. It's a unit where it can really change the tide of the game really quickly, and also it's just not a unit I see very often in Korea anymore. So it made it really hard for me in terms of deciding what to do. I was kind of struggling to figure out what I exactly needed to do. So that's why I think it was such a difficult series for me. And Trap, it's been actually a really long time since we saw you at one of these foreign events. In fact, it's been 3 years. The last event you were in outside of Korea was actually IEM Katowice in 2015. So how does it feel to be back here on the global stage?
일단 이제 해외 대회 나온 지 벌써 3년이나 됐어요. 지난번에 나왔을 때가 월챔이었는데 그때 2015년도였는데 다시 해외 대회 나오는 느낌이 어떠세요?
일단 해외 대회에 나왔을 때는 좋은 기억밖에 없어가지고 일단 설레기도 했고, 또 항상 성적이 괜찮았거든요, 해외 대회 나왔을 때. 그래서 올해도 좋은 기억 이제 가지고 가고 싶고, 또 이제 해외 대회를 하다 보면 뭔가 한국과 다른 분위기, 다른 느낌으로 더 좋은 것 같아요. 이제 관중 분위기라든지 이런 게.
So he says, when it comes to coming out to these foreign events, in the past, when I think about my memories, it's always been really, really great memories. And I think that because of that, I felt a little bit thrilled coming into this one. And so coming into this one, I want to also be able to create some new good memories here. And also when it comes to, an event that's on a global stage like this, I think that there is a feeling of difference when it comes to the crowd and the fans and the sort of atmosphere that's different outside of Korea. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. So congratulations again, Trap. Best of luck in that group stage. James, back to you.
That's right, thank you, Smix. She's indeed right. It has been a long time since we've seen Trap there back in 2015. Claim that second place finish at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. And we need to get into laptop number 2 because things are going down. Ragnarok and Nebe are in a fight.
Yeah, it's game 3 and GG. There you see it. Oh my God, it's GG. That was a crazy series though. Nebe barely pulling out. Like Ragnarok really pushed him to his limits that whole series. Like great offensive plays, like drops, multi-pronged harassment, attacking all over the place. Very well played by Ragnarok, but Nebe advances, so I guess he plays Harstem, right?
Yes, that's correct. And that will be just before a qualifying match, of course. Let's check over with Tasteless as well. Tasteless, which match did you have?
So I wanted to show you guys the final match between Patience and Hurricane. This was in game number 3. If we could just go ahead and throw that up on screen now. They were tied up 1-1, and as you can see, this was the final attack. Coming here from Hurricane, some nice force fields coming down here. Feigning with that initial Adept bust right over here, and then going back, and you could see as this arc kind of moves in here and the additional warpins come in over here, we see that it looks like he might have been able to hold I'm talking about patience in this case. But if you watch, the Adepts come forward, and I believe it's actually the next shade where they managed to break through. In this area back here, there's just not enough to deal with the damage output that's coming from all these different areas.
Yeah.
Another warp in comes, and this is really where patience began to fall apart. We're going to see the Adepts go for an additional shade, and right through here they go. And we actually saw a similar PvP end like this in the GSL. I think it was SOS actually beating Trap, if my memory serves me correctly. And you can see this is where everything gets split up.
Yep.
Gateways are going down. These gates here have not been turned into warp gates. And there it is, GG.
It was a nice attempt there by Patience to try and ferry some of those units out with the Warp Prism, because there was so many sentries there as you know, had Hurricane pushing forwards to try and catch some of those units. So very cool stuff. We can actually check in with the bracket to see exactly what has gone down here. And Trap and Hurricane have qualified for the round of 24. That means that Patience and Harstem will fall down to the lower bracket here. And we have those guys going up against Ro4 and Harstem versus Neve. Important to note, though, that we will be showing all our 3 next matches, as Patience and Ro4 will be next, then Harstem versus Neve, and then finally our qualifying match. So we have 3 more series to go, it seems, here for the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. And at least we've got some Protoss representation, gentlemen, moving through into the round of 24. So that's a good start for them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's in my mind, it still feels like there's going to be 3 Protoss coming out of this group. Of course, there is a chance that there isn't. But Harstem looked incredible in his series. Like, I was just watching on the back of that. It was real nail biter, real nail biter.
We had Seoul doing well, or at least impressing us. We had Daishi impressing us, and now it feels, Arto, it's just like Harstem has kind of joined this trio of non-Koreans that have really impressed us at this tournament so far.
Yeah, kind of popping up and doing very well. Of course, you know, we did have Special do very well get through, but he's someone that always does well. Yeah, so having these guys pop up, it's really great to see these stories emerge, even if some of them don't go through, like Seoul, you know, 4th place. Almost a heartbreaker there, but like his best results ever.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, gents. It's time to go to a break here for the Intel Extreme Masters, and when we come back, 3 more series to complete bracket number 4.
All eyes are on